Welcome to OSG Live, where we inspire you to fall in love with your business. Get set to join your hosts, Tanya, Becky, Kylene, and Aaron for your weekly motivation. It's time to share your wins, express gratitude, and choose positive changes. Jump into the comments and share your thoughts with the rest of the OSG community. Coming up, OSG Wellness Super Tools to nourish your mind and body, small business success gems to uncover hidden gems of business excellence, and the uncommon mindset to challenge the status quo. Your journey to success and happiness starts now.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Yeah, welcome in. Go ahead, Kylene.
We're missing Tanya today, so we hope she feels better. And I am fortunate to be with you guys for a few minutes here this morning. So I miss being here. I missed last week, so I'm happy to be back. But I am Kylene Montgomery with Rise Shine Smile.
I'm Becky Kotzer with BK Custom Tees.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group. And we are here to inspire you guys to fall in love with your businesses and just the fulfillment of all that, right? And yeah, as Kylene mentioned, we are short one of the Fab Four today. So Tanya is still fighting off being sick and had kind of a relapse. And we said, you know what, this is part of the wellness toolbox, right? Is you have to rest. So yeah, she was really concerned about it, and then we appreciate her being so committed here. But I think all of us agreed that like Tanya, get some rest.
Very much so.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
And Jay
so
too.
and Jay too. Yes, thank you very much. And so wishing them well. We'll hope they get better soon. So let's see. We've got some friends checking in with us already here this morning. So we got Chuck says, good morning, everyone. I'm able to watch this morning from the office home. Grateful to be off and focused on this morning. So awesome. Great to have you here, Chuck. And we've got Barb checking in from North Central Minnesota. And yeah, good morning. And then good morning to Michelle. Thanks for being up bright and early with us here.
Good morning.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kylene, I'm glad that you're here because I did my best to be Kylene, and I think I failed miserably. But
no, I listened. You did wonderful.
All right. Well,
you did great.
Talk to us about gratitude, please.
Yeah. So gratitude is our superpower. And when we're in a state of gratitude, we're in a state of abundance. And therefore, we have even more to be grateful and thankful for in our life. We start paying attention to all the good things that we have surrounding us. And then as a result, we start attracting even more good things for us. We are almost in the habit of like looking for the good, right? And what happens inside of us, it raises our vibration. We create more positive emotions, and then we start attracting that back to us, right? And so we want to bring more positive energy to our show this morning and to all of you. So we're going to start with some gratitude. And so today I am very grateful that I can spend a few minutes with you all this morning. I really love OSG Live. I love my Fab Four, Fab Three others, I guess. Is that a better way to say it? I'm just really grateful for all of you. So that's what I'm grateful for today.
Awesome. Becky, what about you?
I am grateful that with my small business and being the business owner that I was able to take off on Monday and take a really fast, quick shopping trip with my mom and my sister. It was kind of fast and furious. And I have an Expedition XL, so it's the extra long package, and it was full.
Oh boy.
we did well.
Wow.
So
quite a shopping trip.
It was just wonderful to be able to jump away. I did pay for it yesterday, but I am extremely grateful to be able to take that time with my family. So
that's awesome. Glad you guys got to do that. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys that are listening in live right now, make sure that you are sharing your gratitude. Kylene, when we're hearing gratitude from others, how does that affect us?
Well, it raises our vibration, right? It has like that ripple effect. When you get to hear what other people are grateful for, it almost acts like a little reminder. Oh yeah, I have that in my life too to be grateful for. Or look at the joy and the pride that they have when they're sharing their gratitude. When you see someone in that positive state, it impacts you and it raises your vibration too. So if we can all share and lift each other up, it's a real power. Like I said, it's like our superpower we have. It
Yeah.
doesn't cost anything. It's just a choice that we can choose to be grateful for things and share it with others.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, make sure that you guys that are, again, tuned in live, put that in the comments right now, or if you're watching the replay later, add what you're grateful for in there. The more times we all share that we're grateful, again, the rising tide's going to lift all boats. And yeah, and I like that you said it's like kind of a reminder. Oh yeah, I've got that in my life too, right? And you just start to, increase and grow and thrive a little bit more. So, Michelle says, I'm grateful for some great support from family and friends. Love it, Michelle.
Awesome.
Well, I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity to be alongside you guys once again. And I'm excited about all the great things that we've got to share for you today. So I know, Kylene, you've got a limited amount of time. So should we jump into the wellness toolbox here?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. All right. Well, as you can tell, we're all back here in the wellness toolbox. So we are trying to fill Tanya's shoes here. Kylene,
two of us.
Yeah, it does take two of us for sure. Well, it's you, and then you've got to carry me, Becky. So it's just a trickle down effect. But so what I did tell you guys though is that I wanted to share some things. So tonight, for those that are OSG members, we are doing our monthly live training tonight, and it is called Strategies to Overcome Burnout and Embrace Growth. And so obviously I've been thinking a lot about that, making sure that we're all set to go for tonight, going through everything and getting prepared. And when the opportunity came up to be part of Wellness Toolbox here, I started thinking, like, how are these things connected, right? And so, because here's what burnout is. The definition of burnout is it's basically just a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. Okay, so think about that, right? So emotional, physical, mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. Now, a lot of us live in that constant world of stress. It's always stressful, everything going on. And so I know that burnout affects all of us at some point. And again, it's that feeling of being drained. And so a lot of times we're running on empty, and we're literally running on empty, right? We're running from one task to the next. We're running from one project to the next. And I guess what kind of made me connect the dots personally was it affects our physical well-being just as much as that emotional and mental well-being that can be a cause. But ultimately, it can trickle down and affect our physical well-being. I've been personally fighting off a little bit of a sickness myself, right? And I know that a lot of things trying to get done by the end of the year, and so mentally, I'm a little bit more stressed than normal. And then I started thinking about, well, a lot of people, we tend to get more sick during the wintertime. And I think a lot of people equate that with the change of the weather. It's cold outside, that kind of thing. But I also wonder if it's also a kind of part of the fact that, the holidays can be a stressful time for people. You got a lot of extra things going on, the gift giving, the family stuff, the yada, yada, yada. And so, I was just wondering if, we're typically more sick in the wintertime because of that too. So that was where I connected the dots. And so I know I just kind of put a lot of stuff out at you guys, but Kylene, what's your take on that? And then maybe Becky can translate what I said.
Well, I think what you said is so true. There is added tasks that happen in the holidays in the winter, right? You have other obligations that show up that normally are not there. And we push ourselves as much as we can. And at some point, our body is going to say, hey, take care of me. And that's usually when the sickness occurs. for you because you're run down. Your body is not operating at that prime level. The other thing that kind of happens is with all those extra obligations, we tend to give up on those good habits that we have put in place for ourselves, showing up to prep our meals, get our water in, show up for yoga, for example, or show up for your workout or your walk, whatever it might be for you. We tend to let that go away when we get really busy. And in turn, if we kept that as a priority, we would have more energy to show up for this busy season. And I know it's not easy to do, but those habits that we put in place earlier in the year is really going to help us through this busy season.
Love that.
And
Wow.
protecting our schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such a good connection. I didn't even think about that, right? The fact that we do let, that those things are typically the first to go. I'm super busy. I mean, I know for me, right? Oh, I'm busy. I got to get right into it. I'm going to skip the meditation. I'm going to skip stretching. I'm going to, right. And get into that. So Becky, what about you? How do you connect our wellness into what burnout can do to us?
Well, and I think all of us in the decorators industry right now are feeling that. I set my cutoff date as Friday for custom orders, and I've had some extra ones, so then it's okay. Can I push it in there? Can I, and it's like, nope, you just need to, you have to draw that line so that you can get your stuff done. I mean, I've set some lofty goals for myself to make sure that I'm not working right up until that last minute. And I felt that stress yesterday. I felt that burnout feeling yesterday a little bit because I took Monday off. I chose to take Monday off, and I'm grateful and extremely thankful that I did. But as I was getting text messages and emails and all that stuff on Monday, I'm going, oh, Tuesday is going to be terrible. But, I did the same thing yesterday. I'm like, okay, I did go to yoga. I kept that one.
Yeah.
But I realized halfway through the day, I had not set my Fun 5 up. So I didn't have that. I jumped right in because I knew I needed to get this, and this done. Well, then, like, oh, I got to do this. And then you're back and forth. So, that burnout happens when we don't take those times, like you guys have said, for the habits and the stuff, which is going to lead right into my gem this week. But
Nice.
At the end of the day, I made sure that I took that time for myself. I did one of my fun projects that I have been working on. Was it still stressful? Because I'm still trying to get them done for some Christmas presents a little bit, but I finished one of the ones that I needed to do last night. And that was also then my relaxing time and my time for myself. So, you have to remember to take that time at the end of the day or at the you have to also remember that time you need time no matter what's going on.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, really good stuff. Kylene, I know you're going to have to get out of here in just a moment. So can you leave us when push comes to shove, when you are feeling at your most stressed, right? Where that stress has been hanging on for a little bit longer than it needs to for you. Give us your top two, because I think I know what number one is, but give us your top two tools that you use to overcome burnout.
All right. Well, you need some yoga in your life. At least for me, that's what works for me because it does help my mind and my body. It gives me that moment to connect, right? Get back to me for a little bit while strengthening my body and all that other fun stuff. The other thing is to come back to gratitude. And you're in that state of panic almost, or you're in that state of stress and everything's coming at you, or you see this list of orders you still have to do. Maybe take a moment and come back to gratitude and come back to, I am so thankful and grateful that all these people trusted me to make their gifts this year. Or I'm so thankful that I have this business that I get to create and do something that I love. And come back to that state of gratitude. So then you're not resenting all those orders that you worked so hard all year to get, right? Yeah. You're enjoying that work a little bit more because with the event, the whole like scenario of the busy season, we can't change that part, right? We can only change how we're showing up in the moment. So why not show up in a state of gratitude and make it a little bit more enjoyable as you go through it? And that's going to create more positive emotions and kind of help reduce some of that overwhelm that you're experiencing.
Love it. Yeah. What a great tip there. I and you've been doing a really good job of it, right? I see all the orders and I go, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this, right? Like, wait a second, that's what we worked for.
Yep,
Good
exactly.
point. All right.
Yep.
Well,
All
Kylene, I
right.
know you've got to run, so you'll have to tune in for Becky's take on this here. And
I will.
but
I'll put
thank
it
you
on in the
for,
car.
all right.
All right. Well, bye, everyone.
Have a great day.
Okay. All right, Becky, your turn. So what's if Kylene's are on the top of your list, what's the next one on the list?
Well, I don't probably use yoga as much as Kylene does, but I do enjoy my time when I do go to yoga with her.
Yeah,
So I need to maybe bring that a little more forward. But tapping is one of my other ones that we've used ever since that's been brought into my life. I know that there's times that I, ebb and flow with it where I haven't used it enough. And then there's other times that I know I'm using it every day. So right now I'm kind of in that the ebb part of not using it near enough. So that that is definitely something. And then taking a little bit of time to read. I love to read. And sometimes I don't let myself, because if I start a book, then I don't get anything else done. So that's kind of a double-edged sword for me. But I do enjoy just taking some time to sit and read and just take that mental break of everything else going on. So what about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I think for me, finding it's so counterintuitive. At least it feels like it to me, right? Because there's a lot of stuff, and so I want to really go. I'm kind of a driven person in that, where I just want to do everything, right? I've got this big long list. I want to start checking things off, and I think I found for me the best thing that I can do is and we'll talk about it more in depth tonight. Is just what I call clear the decks, right? Just get out of it and remove all of that and come back to a center point. Why am I doing this? Right. We've talked about in overcoming busyness, and there's a lot of similarities here in the uncommon mindset we've talked about for a couple of weeks. Like, will you look back on this and say, I'm proud of it? Right. Well, I look back on getting 17 whatever's done today that maybe helped, maybe didn't, we're kind of like, and so specifically, I'll sometimes be working from home. It can be a challenge. I think a lot of people struggle with. And so what I do is I leave, I go to the Panera up the street, or, the local breakfast place, and just sit down and I just take my notebook and all the details about my why and stuff like that I carry around in my planner, and sit with it and go, okay, let's look at the big picture of things. And that seems to settle things out. Like, okay, yes, I know there's a lot of little things here, but the big picture of things, we're still on track. We're doing the right things. And so that's been really helpful for me. Yeah. Awesome. Well, okay. So I guess I'm curious, from those that are tuned in live right now, or if you're catching the replay later on, jump into the comments here and tell us what you do to combat overwhelm. How do you overcome them? And then, so tonight in the OSG training, our plan is to really get into this in depth, but have a very strategic way. So we're going to have some exercises. We're going to have a whole bunch of different strategies that we'll go through. But then we're going to break them down and say, okay, when in doubt, right? So we're going to have some very clear steps, but we also want to start figuring out some of the signs that tell us that we might be kind of maybe not in burnout, right? I don't think there's a clear black and white, like, oh, Aaron, you're in burnout right now, right? But I think there are signs. I think there's some indications that can be, I think we think about a sign and it's always like a stop sign, but I think we need to look at the signs in our lives as kind of a yield sign, as that opportunity to slow down and step back and do whatever it is that you need to do. In Kylene's case, it's yoga. You talked about tapping. I talked about just kind of clearing the decks. And so we're going to tonight also go pretty deep into recognizing those signs and just, I think our body knows before we know, right? And so if we can start utilizing the innate intelligence that our body has, right? Like if you're having a hard time sleeping, maybe there's something a little bit deeper, right? If you're having, a frequent illness, for example, right, will be one of those things to go, okay, do I have too much on my plate, right? Do I need to redo my priorities? So I don't know, Becky, for you, what are some of the signs that you notice for yourself personally?
I know that I get to the point where I can't even concentrate. Like, I mean, I have to kind of clear the decks too and step back, because
nice,
you get too many things going on. And at that point, then I can't even push forward on one, because I've got myself overwhelmed with what I need to do. And then it's kind of the stick your head in the sand thing. And if I, so I can feel it when, I'm jumping between tasks and I just can't focus on things. And I mean, physical signs, I can feel my heart rate go up. I can feel that tightness in the chest and my stomach of like just that major stress part.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like, okay, we got to shut things off. We got to step away from the computer. We need to put the phone down. We need to, if you can, we've been very thankful for nice weather here, to go outside, walk to the mailbox and back, or down the street or around the corner, whatever you can do. I mean, that definitely helps clear that, and then come back with that better mindset.
I love that. Yeah. Heck, just going, and I know in the wintertime, it feels a little bit like, really, Aaron? But I mean, even if it's cold outside, just go put your feet in the dirt for a second. I mean, I know it's cold and we don't want to be cold, but actually cold is very good for our bodies, and it reduces inflammation. And so as long as you can stand it, go put your feet in the ground and let that stress get sucked right out of you. So, Michelle has got a couple of comments that I wanted to share real quick, Becky. She says, yes, I've been giving up some of my personal stuff lately because of orders, but I've had to be gone for 2 days for health appointments. And so real quick, Becky, I'd love to get your take on this too, but we don't want to add more stress by beating ourselves up by going, okay, I didn't do this thing, right? Because I can do that too, where, oh man, Aaron, if you just would go back to this and do this thing, you'd be fine. But the reality is we have to juggle. It's about finding that balance, right? So if you've got health appointments, like Michelle had mentioned there, that's just part of the balance. Yes, maybe something's going to have to be sacrificed that particular time, but how do you keep it a priority, right? We don't want to make it something where it's the easy thing to get rid of. Maybe some of the time wasters or things that are priorities from other people, right, are things that, so anyhow, what's your kind of, how do you find that balance?
I think it's a matter of giving yourself some grace. In appointments this week, life just, that's where life is at. And there just has to be some grace. And, for me at that point, it's a matter of reaching out to the customers and saying, okay, here's where I'm at. And this is where we're at. Maybe the timelines need to be adjusted. And I know Michelle had set some timelines too for taking custom orders and that kind of stuff. So maybe that needed to be cut off a little bit sooner now, or maybe, type of thing, readjusting that, that timeline. So, but I think it comes back to just giving yourself some grace and giving up the personal stuff. That's part of that balance too. You still need to do some of that, but we also all know as small business owners that's what we do. We work a few extra hours in the evening because we did take that time. I mean, I took all day. I left at 6:00 Monday morning and I got home at 10:00 that night, so I had all day. And, did I work yesterday till 6:00? I did, I was up and going right away. I didn't take that time to read or do anything in the morning yesterday after the kids left. It was right out to work. So we take that extra time when we need to.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. Like we're going to get it done. We can do a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. And so I think it's more about like you said, you took Monday off, right? And then yesterday wasn't the easiest day, but you're here, right? And I'm sure you got lots of stuff accomplished. And at the end of the day, if the orders get out on time, that's what we're going for, right? But if it doesn't, you might have to have an uncomfortable conversation with a customer. But at the end of the day, none of this is right. So I think kind of finding that balance between, okay, I want to hold this as a priority, these personal things that I need to do to overcome burnout. But at the same time, I have to, like you said, give yourself grace and then celebrate, right? Like, man, I was able to take Monday off and I crushed it yesterday by getting quite a bit done in a reduced time frame. Let's celebrate that, right? So I think that's some really good stuff, Becky. Thank you for sharing that. And then Michelle also says, sadly, I go play games on my phone when I get overwhelmed. I'm excited for tonight's training. My body does know that I need to slow down. And Michelle, I guess I would and I'll just leave that up there for a second. I guess just do me a favor. And when you're thinking about this, get rid of the sadly part, right? It's
absolutely,
because here's why. Like, you found in that moment at one point somewhere previous in your life, when you went and played games on your phone, that was a comfort zone for you, right? And so it's a place where you go to find that comfort when you're feeling overwhelmed, right? And so that's a good thing, right? We need to have that safe space. Now, maybe you can figure out a way to make that a little bit more productive for you if you need to, or we can change and find a new comfort zone. Maybe that new comfort zone is, like Becky talked about earlier, just going to tapping right away, or going to prayer right away, right? Or something else. But the reality is there's no sadly to it, I guess, is what I wanted to say.
And I was going to comment on that also, because I think the part that, if you take that out, Michelle, and not say sadly, and say, I set a timer for 15 minutes and then I went and played those games on my phone. That gives you that break. You set that timer. It gets you back to, you took that 15-minute break. Now you're ready to come back. So definitely don't feel bad that you're going to do that. I mean, you can feel bad if you spent 6 hours doing that, but I don't believe that's what she does. I believe that she is definitely using her time wisely. And that's just one thing I found, that, okay, I'm going to start doing something, but I know I don't want to be doing it for X amount of time. I have a timer set right on the face of my watch, and I click it 15 minutes. And then when my timer goes off, that's my cue to move on. So then I've had that break and we go from there. So
Yep. And even if you did, one more thing, even if you did do it for 6 hours, right? I can't change that, right? So all that needs to be is like, okay, I need to come up with a strategy like Becky has. Set a timer, right? Do whatever, so I don't get stuck. I mean, I've had times where, like, I'm sitting there scrolling, doing like on social media, and I look back a couple hours later, I'm like, what in the heck are you doing, Aaron? But I can't sit in that beat myself up phase. I need to go, okay, just close the window. Let's not even go there. Let's do it differently, right? So I think just finding strategies to overcome that stuff is important. So, all right. And Betty says, I just had to turn off and sleep in an extra hour this morning. I'm at the verge of major burnout. This time of year is a killer. And it certainly can be if we allow it, right? And so, I'm excited about tonight. I think being able to share with the OSG community these strategies, I feel like we can break it down, right? Because we've talked about this in a lot of different places. I've even got an article out there in Graphics Pro, but for the OSG community, I want to get really into the nuts and bolts of this. So I'm really excited about tonight. So, all right. Well, Becky, speaking of tonight, I want to give those folks that are not OSG members an opportunity to come and join us. Not only do we have this, but then in January, we have a really cool new planning and working through, and just kind of finding your priorities and some different stuff like that. So more details coming really soon on that, probably today, actually. But anyhow, OSG members, that's all part of what you get as an OSG member. And so if people want to try it out, you can come join us tonight. You can sign up today and come join us tonight. And we've got a cool trial offer here that I wanted to share with folks. So can I go ahead and play that, Becky?
Yes, please.
All right.
As a small business owner, the journey can often feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're overworked, underappreciated, and alone. At our Success Group, we guide you to uncover the fundamentals necessary for success and lead you to fall in love with your business. We provide the foundational support and guide you towards a business that you love, not just a job that you dread. With OSG, we tackle aligning your business with your reason or purpose, defining a pricing strategy tailor-made for your business, and pave the way for you to identify your ideal customer. This is just scratching the surface. The mindset shift we provide is the game changer. We're here to support you every step of the way. Take a chance on yourself, trust in your potential, and let OSG guide your first steps towards lasting fulfillment. Go to osg.link/try-OSG.
All right, well, check that out, osg.link/try-OSG. And again, if you go there anytime today, give me a little bit of time to make sure that I get you all the details. But training tonight is at 7:00 Central Time. So you get signed up today, and we'd love to have you join us and check it out. You come in, like I said, got that trial offer there, and if it's not for you, then that's okay. That's okay too.
So many benefits out of OSG for sure.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, Chuck, I find myself following that as well, scrolling social media too long and not getting work done. And I think, like we talked about, right, the idea here is just make sure that you have a strategy to okay, cool, I understand that happened this time. What am I going to do about it next time?
Yep.
As opposed to, oh my gosh, Aaron, you're so terrible. That doesn't do anybody any good. We got to let go of those labels.
The negative self-talk is not helpful.
No, it is not. And I get it, right? Like I'm a master at it. I'm sure we all have a special skill for that somewhere inside of us. But yeah, just finding that strategy to say, yep, okay, I learned. Now I'm going to do it differently this time. So, okay. Well, this is why they don't let me be part of Wellness Toolbox, Becky, because it's halfway through and we're already there. But no, we got some other great stuff. You said that you have some things that might even fall right into this. So are you ready to bring us some gems here?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Good morning, everybody. So my SBS gem this week, I had been thinking about this for a little while, and it is an item that I have not done well this year, and it is part of my goals for next year. It is habit stacking. Kylene talked about habits, and habit stacking is taking one of those routine habits that you already do and adding a new one to it. So it eventually becomes one that you just take care of. Think about your day. What are some habits that you do every day that you don't even think about? You just do them. For me, brushing your teeth. We were taught at a young age to brush your teeth morning and night, and you just do it. So if we can add on, so if you're trying to, for me, I have vitamins that I need to take and I forget to take them. They are now sitting where I see them. So now when I brush my teeth, I take my vitamins, that type of thing. So habit stacking the benefits of habit stacking is efficiency and time saving. It allows you to leverage those existing routines and behaviors, make your daily activities more efficient. It saves time and mental energy that you don't have to think about what you need to do, because once one happens, then the next one's going to happen. Consistency and routine building. It takes that mental load off of you when you start stacking those habits together. So I looked up a couple things, or had a couple things that I found for small businesses. To do, the first one that I seen was email management during your morning coffee or your morning, whatever it is you drink that morning. But by sitting down and having your coffee, now you're automatically logging into your email. You're taking care of those urgent email requests. You're kind of flipping through, maybe deleting, spend a few minutes deleting all the ones that you don't need. Organize the tasks for the day. That would be also setting up that fun 5 that we talk about, getting all those tasks ready for you for the day. Also, having a weekly meeting and a check-in. It gives you time to get those things addressed, anything that's going to be coming up in the next week. Just setting that time, reserve 10 minutes on Monday for a quick check-in, and make sure that you've set your week up and you're not missing anything. Again, we talk about the fun 5. We talk about the fun 5 being a daily thing, but there could be a fun 5 for a weekly thing as that habit too. So, but then you think about your personal time, what do you habit stack in your personal time? So you watch TV in the evening, take your commercial breaks and tidy up. I guess that's probably the one thing I've missed since we've gone to the streaming things, that we don't have the commercials like we used to. So there's not that break. You just sit there and continue to watch TV. I remember too, with commercial breaks, it was the time to, get up and go grab something or make popcorn or, in this case, we could tidy up and have your rooms and your living room and kitchen and stuff done during that time. Meal planning on a Sunday. That's something that I've been trying to also implement, is like, okay, what's going on for the week? Have a quick check-in, what games do we have? Who's going where? And then, what meals are we going to make this week, and type of stuff. So again, mine is super short this week. I'll bring Aaron back in here so that he can give a few 2 cents here on on the habit stacking side, but
me 2 cents. Come on.
Okay, 10.
All right, I'll try to keep it to 2 cents. No, that was really good, and I love you lit a light bulb up in me. Actually, yeah, thinking about that, right? It actually made me think back to what Chuck and I were talking about, where we'll get stuck in the social media scrolling, right? So if that's a habit, what could I stack on top of that? And this wasn't exactly the spirit and I think what you were going with, but I thought about it in this way, like, okay, if I'm find myself on social media, when I have that, hey Cora, how are you? Good to see you. You're all bundled up and ready to go. I love it. When I'm there, right, if I can have that realization, oh, okay, I'm scrolling social media kind of mindlessly here. What if I had that be my sign to then stack a habit of making sure that I'm engaging with my customers? Right. Because I think, it's great that we get in and we have community and we talk to each other. I love the OSG Facebook groups that we have, or the different ways that we can engage with each other, with our community here. But at the same time, we need to do the same, and we need to be building and engaging with our customers, with people that are going to be doing business with us, not necessarily just always our peers, right? So maybe that's a habit you could add. Or, you talked about brushing your teeth as something that we were trained since we were kids to do, right? So for me, I just thought about the fact that one of the things that I don't do enough is this thing called a mirror exercise, where you just look at yourself in the mirror, and it's really weird and awkward at first. And you basically have a conversation looking into your own eyes about, hey, I'm proud of you for this. You did such a good job at this, and ending with an I love you. But if you were to do that twice a day, as often as you brush your teeth, that inner voice inside of you will change in no time, right? It will become more supportive, because there's that trust and confidence. It's just like building a relationship. And as weird as it seems, we have to build that relationship with our inner voice, and that mirror exercise is a great way to do that. So while I'm brushing my teeth, I could be doing that same thing at the time.
And that would definitely help get rid of the negative self-talk that we are very fond of. So.
Yeah, definitely. Michelle says, I did good with habit stacks when I did the monthly fitness challenge sheet. So there you go.
Yes.
Having a checklist sure helps me. That's a fantastic idea and really great point, Michelle. Yeah. So.
Yep. And that's the one thing I guess I've really gotten to, is I've started setting the reminders on my phone. We have all these tools within our phone. We don't need I have an iPhone, and there is a reminders app already on there. I've set it up so that at 9:30 it tells me this, at 12:15 it tells me this, at 3 o'clock it tells me this. We can set those up. You can have them reoccurring, Monday through Friday. You can have them recurring every day. So even if we're trying to set those habits, we don't have to rely on something else entirely to make that happen, as the habit stacking like this. Set that reminder. That one reminder might be what starts the habit stack to get those things going.
Yeah, I love it. Habit stacking is great, and having that checklist is so good. Here you go.
Yep.
Whoa, dude. What is it? Summertime?
Morning, Lewis.
Morning.
Morning. He's got shorts and a t-shirt on. It's like it's summer.
Oh, well,
He
I
says
think
he has
Cora,
a jacket, but whatever.
I think Cora's got something similar, but they do still need their snow pants and stuff. It is summer vacation day or something, I think, for their 12 days of Christmas. So
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I think that is some fantastic stuff. One other quick thing on the habit stacking, you'd mentioned that Fun 5 kind of being a daily thing, and then maybe even like a weekly thing. Yeah. So like prepping your meals on Sunday for or planning at least what the meal plan is going to be for the week is an awesome thing. And so if you can make that a habit, and then I like to stack, like just plan the week. Like look at the week ahead. So maybe it's not a fun. So what I have is I've got a list. I think it's about. I think I left myself space for 15 tasks that I want to accomplish during the week. And then one of the things on my daily checklist is make sure that to start the day, I review what my goals were for the week. Right.
yeah.
So I don't get to Friday going, oh, good, I've got 14
15.
things left to do.
Yep.
15, right? Yeah. So there's some great habits to stack there. So Becky, rock star as usual. Good job.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Well, you ready to dive into a little uncommon mindset here? I'm going to keep going with the overcoming busyness, and I think we've got some great stuff rolling here. And then I'm excited to get your take on it as well after I share a little bit. Sound good?
Yes. Sounds great.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Well, welcome back to the Uncommon Mindset here. And this is part 3, as I mentioned, of overcoming busyness. And yes, it has a lot of things related here to what we've been talking about with overcoming burnout. And it just is that kind of year. So just to give you guys a little review, if you missed the last couple of weeks, make sure that you go to OSG Live and go to Live OSG. Sorry, I got to flip there. Go to Live OSG and go back and watch the previous couple of weeks here. But in week 1, we talked about the idea that it's really more of a priority management challenge that we're faced with, and especially when we're feeling overwhelmed and too busy. And so it's kind of figuring out ways to overcome our inner people pleaser. We talked about one of the best ways of doing that being kind of to weigh the task against the question, will this action that I'm taking right now allow me to look back in 5 years from now and be grateful that I spent my time doing that, right? So we've also discussed that there are 10 steps that we can take that will allow us to better manage the overwhelm and the feeling too busy. And so last week we went deep dive into prioritize your tasks. We determined that what you focus on and what impacts your goals most is really important to figure out, because we end up becoming way too busy because we don't know where we're going. And we kind of deep dive into the idea of fundamental 5, or fun 5, as Becky's been calling it, which I love. So that was number 1. Number 2 was to set clear goals. Specific equals results. So we did a very deep dive of what makes a specific goal last week. It's very specific, how much and by when, focused on creating momentum one goal at a time. So focus, right? And then broken down into manageable milestones. And then most importantly, being able to share it with others so you can get that support that you need. So that was 1 and 2. We went deep dive into that last week. 3, 4, 5, all the way through 10 here is practice time optimization is number 3. Number 4 is learn to say no. Number 5 is embrace focus. Number 6 is delegate more. Number 7 is take regular breaks. Number 8 is practice mindfulness. And number 9 is review and reflect. And then number 10 is seek support. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and dive into number 3 here, which is practice time optimization. So with this idea, and we talked about it being practice time management, but then we said, well, wait a second. We said we don't have a time management problem. We have a priority management problem. And so when we talk about managing our time here, it's really about optimizing our time, right? And so from that, how do we do that? What are some techniques? And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys here today. I want to get through this one, and then I'm hoping to also get through number 2 here. So the Pomodoro technique is one of the ways that you could optimize your time. And And really, Becky's kind of doing it in a way on her phone, or on her watch, where it's really just setting a timer and just focusing on one thing at a time. Now, the Pomodoro technique's got some other things to it, and if you want more information about that, you can reach out to me at consultaaron.com. But the idea is you set a specific time to get things done, then you take a break, right? Kind of recharge, short break, then into the next thing, and then you're just focusing on one thing at a time, becoming a single tasker. Another technique that you can use to optimize your time is what we call time blocking, which basically means instead of your to-dos or your most important priorities being on a list of to-dos, they get on your calendar, right? So anything that we put on our calendar, that's way different than a task. Like oh, I'll just get to that whenever I'm ready to check off that box. But when I time block, I actually say, okay, I'm going to spend this 30 minutes. It's on my calendar. There's an alarm that goes off. This 30 minutes, I'm going to be doing this morning meditation, setting up my week, whatever that is. What are those things? So time blocking is all about putting your tasks on your calendar as opposed to just leaving them on your to-do list. And then one other thing that I shared is just like a little fun. Sometimes we need to gamify things. That's why, the likes, having likes on social media and stuff like that. That's a gamification, right? You get to keep score, so to speak. And so anything that we can make into a game, as humans, we love that. So I did a whole YouTube video. I'll see if I can find the link here. Yep, there it is. So if you go to osg.link/overwhelm, and it's this thing called Wheel of Names. It's wheelofnames.com. And I found a fun little way. In fact, my friend Addie was, I think, who really came up with the idea. So I'll give her credit for that. But we take our to-do list, maybe that is the fundamental 5, but maybe you've got, some other just like everything that's on your list, including self-care stuff, maybe even a fun thing. Maybe there's even a 15-minute block to play games on the phone or whatever that is. You put it on this Wheel of Names thing, you let it spin, whatever task comes up, yay. And then you're committed to doing that. And boy, if you do that and you just do it in 15-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks, wow, it really, really, really allows you to get a ton done. So there's 3 really great ways that we can optimize our time: Pomodoro technique, time blocking, and the Wheel of Names, which again, you can learn more about that if you go to osg.link/overwhelm. All right. So that was number 3. Number 4 here is we need to learn to say no. And I don't know why. I do know why, because we're people pleasers at heart. But no is like the hardest single sentence that I think we ever have to say, right? At least it can be for me, because I'm a recovering people pleaser. But I think the other part of it is we have these labels, right? So if you go and do a Google image search and just type in no and do a Google image search, what are you going to see? Red, stop signs, negatives, things crossed out. And so we also, as a society, associate no with this bad thing. But here's the reality, right? No is a superpower. No is a tool that we have to use. And if you're a recovering people pleaser like me, saying no means that you're giving yourself the ability to say yes to something else that is more valuable to the world around you, right? So we think that if we say no, it's selfish. But the opposite is actually true. Saying yes to everything is very selfish because you're not sharing your true value with the rest of the world, right? Remember, we only have 24 hours in a day. And by saying no is the only way that we can optimize those 24 hours. So I found several strategies that help me be better at saying no. The first one is you can start with a yes, right? I've talked about this as the DARE program, or like the sandwich method. If somebody asks you to do drugs, you can say, hey, thanks for the offer. I don't do drugs. We can still be friends, right? That's kind of positive, negative, positive. We're sandwiching it, right? So start with a yes, right? If you start with a yes, you can start off by just saying, I'm in the middle of working on an extremely important project, right? You're starting with something positive. This is something I'm doing, I'm very proud of. So that's my positive. That's my yes. Yes, I'm doing this. So unfortunately, I can't focus on your project right now, but it sounds like a really great opportunity for someone else. Let me think if I can find somebody to share this with, right? And so that's a way to kind of take the bite off of saying no. Another helpful strategy is to have an anchor phrase, like basically saying something like, I'd rather say no now rather than disappoint you later, or I have a policy that, right, or I only volunteer in connection with these causes, right? So if you can kind of come up like, what are you being asked a lot that you really need to say no to, right? And then based on that, come up with an anchor phrase, right? Let me give you a couple other techniques because we're going to run out of time. And Michelle says no is a hard sentence to say. I had a Christmas deadline and have to let a couple more orders in. Right? Yep, it is hard. And I think if we come at it from the what I just mentioned there, right, as I'd rather say no to you now rather than disappoint you later, right? That's important, right? So let me give you one more. And here's I think one of the hardest parts. And I think if we can focus on it from this way, this will help us. Keep it simple, right? No is a complete sentence, right? It's okay to be firm and direct. If you have to deliver a no, just, get yourself ready for it. Have that strong body language. Once we start apologizing for saying no, that's when we get ourselves in trouble, because now we're talking ourselves out of it, right? So remember, you're not asking permission to say no. You're actually just saying no, and it's not selfish, right? So just remember that no is a complete sentence. All right. Well, I left a whole 6 minutes for us, Becky. So we'll get into the rest of it. We got a couple more shows left this year. My goal is to get through all 10 of these strategies. Again, we will be going in more depth in some of these tonight in OSG training as well. So let me bring Becky back in. Sorry to pop you right in there, but we covered two quick things there: time optimization and those types of things, and then also saying no. So anywhere you want to go with that?
Well, first with the time blocking, the Gamify thing I think is wonderful. I know Tanya has used that, set up her items on the wheel of names, or wheel of chores, or wheel of whatever you want to make it. I mean, and speaking of chores, that would be a great thing to use for your kids. Set it up and use it for chores for the kids. But anything to, make that be the game like that, I think I agree completely helps. Also on the second side, the learning to say no, the people pleasers, I think it's just nature. It's just human nature to want to do that. That sandwich method program, I watched a coach that my boys had for baseball do that exact thing. And it was so amazing. Those kids never once felt like they were getting hollered at or talked down to, but he always, said, good job, blah, blah, blah. And then said, this is what we need to do. And then a good job again. That was, he always sandwiched that negative, what he needed to get through to him with that positive on each end. So and the anchor phrase that, saying no now so I don't disappoint you later, I wrote that down. There's so many times that, it's, you get asked to do something and it's like, I just know that I'm not going to be able to do it as well. I don't have the time to put into it. I don't, and that saying right there, I think is a very positive thought to be able to say no, and just saying no is a complete sentence. You can just leave it at that. So
yeah, I can say no to my dog. So she's going crazy right now or something. So I apologize if you're hearing her in the background, but I saying no for me is such a challenge that I had to come up with all these techniques, right? I had to do a lot of research and figure these things out. But I think that having some of those tools can be so big for us. So I put Michelle's comment up here. She says, I have started utilizing the structured app more with a set amount of time and putting my checklist in that time frame. I need to remember that anchor statement. So here we go.
And Michelle and I have talked too that, I had started with that Anchor or that structured app or whatever there. And I think I got overwhelmed with it.
Yeah,
First of
yeah.
all, I mean, I think I let it get it overwhelming for me. And so then I just like, nope, I'm done. And so that's when I went to those reminders. But I think that app is probably a really good one too. It looked like it would be. It wasn't the right time for me. So I love that we all have so many different things that work for us. You know, what works for one does not have to work for the other, and it's not cookie cutter. So
exactly. And I think it's great to have these tools, but yeah, like you said, sometimes we can get more overwhelmed by the tools, right? I was using a thing called reclaim.ai, which kind of helped you kind of manage your calendar a little bit better, and it would give you a different thing. But then I started looking at my calendar. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just way too much in here, and I had to delete it. Right. So just finding what works for you, and just because something works for me, again, doesn't mean that's going to work for Becky. It's about finding what works for you and individualizing that. I always found that, like with day planners, for example, I ended up making my own. I love all the ideas of different stuff, but it didn't all work for me. And so I'm like, man, I'm not really using this to its potential. And so I'm like, you know what? I know what works for me. Let's just make it happen. So,
and I love seeing what works for everybody else, because I love being able to take parts and pieces of something that's working for somebody else and add it to what works for me. And so if any of our viewers have anything, like the structured app, like Michelle uses, or reminders or anything like that, we'd love to hear them, because I'm still searching for that perfect planner every year.
Yeah. Like I said, I spent so many years of my life chasing that perfect planner that, I finally just ended up creating my own. And every year, or sometimes multiple times a year, I adjust it as I pick up new things, pick up new habits.
Well, maybe we need to get Aaron to publish that for us, so we can all have his perfect planner.
It's on the list.
Perfect.
The list keeps growing, and I love it, but because I don't feel overwhelmed by it, right? This is what I'm meant to do, and I'm back to my reason and why, and so I can stack those up all day and never feel that stress of being burnt out on it. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up here, Becky. We don't have Tanya to give us the ice, but I think we can do a pretty good job. Do you want to kind of take that section?
I don't know if I'm good at that part of it.
Okay, well, that's all right. I got it right here. Okay, go for it.
I found what she uses. So
okay.
So ICE stands for Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage. The mindset goes hand in hand with choose, what you implement to move yourself forward in your personal and business life. What do you choose? How can you inspire, collaborate, and encourage others? So I have the choose board. Mine says focus today, as I need to continue to focus. Oh, what did Cora write down? Cora wrote she chooses to be helpful. So Mom is going to implement that this afternoon when she gets home from school.
Can we hand that to Lewis, please?
Yep. So
love it. Okay. Well, mine says abundance. Just keeping in that mindset. I think Kylene had a great reminder for us early on about, right? You work so hard to get all these orders, and now you're sitting there, fretting over them.
Right.
Just enjoy it. Be grateful for it, and find that state of abundance. So I love that. All right. Well, one other thing that we want to make sure that you guys, what are you committed to? All right. So between now and next week, what commitment are you going to make towards, maybe setting up something to better say no, or, finding a strategy that works for you when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, or signing up for our success group, or figuring out what habits you want to stack, right? We had all sorts of great stuff in here that you could choose from. So what will you choose? And so those of you that are here in the live version, and Rena said, just here to say good morning and have a great day. Team replay today. So really appreciate you jumping in and saying good morning. But I'm curious what the live viewers here, Becky, what they're going to commit to, they're going to choose for this week. So we'll give them a second to do that. And then I guess while you guys are going to type something in there, Becky, what I'll say is we've already talked about some changes that are going to kind of happen, not major changes, but do you want to, I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, Becky, but do you want to kind of talk about in the new year, what kind of some of the little changes to OSG Live might be?
Yep. So OSG Live is going to go from 3 segment to a 2 segment. So the SBS Gems will still be here, and we will utilize it on occasion to highlight some things. But Erin and I are working on a big workshop that we are excited to get put out there into the world. So we have a 12-week workshop that is coming down the pipeline. It's coming at us faster than we're probably ready for, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And with that, that workshop is all based on his book and that uncommon mindset. So to kind of streamline things, we're going to keep Tanya and Kylene doing our wellness tools because we all need those and they have amazing information for us. And then Erin and I will start combining together, and we'll have the uncommon mindset portion together. And then I guess SBS Gem will go away to a certain degree, but I think we'll bring it back here once in a while when we have a quick hitter that we want to highlight as we go. So
yeah. No, I think it's really great. And I think the other thing that we talked about with that, Becky, which I thought was important is, when we have the Fab Four here, we really do enjoy that kind of discussion, right? And I think that's really powerful. The different perspectives that we can get from each other, right? Like I might have the uncommon mindset and I share these things, but like the takeaways that you shared, for example, were really powerful, and that kind of thing. So I think that also gives us that opportunity to have a little bit more of that time and still, be aware of people's time. We're about a minute or so over, but that amount. So, there we go. Thank you.
Michelle said if she was home, her board would say focus also. But today I'm gone and choosing faith. I love that, Michelle.
Very good.
She says she's excited about all the new stuff. So yes,
we
are too. So it is.
Stay tuned
on our journey.
Yeah, indeed. And it's going great. I mean, we're heading in the right direction. I think, like you said, we'd like to be a little further along, but this is the reality of it, right? You gotta make things happen, and
we're in busy season on the other side, so we'll get there. We will get there. And now that we've told you all, we know we'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. You put it out there and then make it happen. So
that's right.
All right. Well, I think we've had an awesome day today. Obviously missing Tanya, and just wish her and Jay well. Hopefully they start feeling better right away. Yes. And appreciate Kylene giving us her 15 minutes that she could. We'll figure that out too, but only for a short time. She's kind of getting back into the swing of things and has to go into the office for a little bit, but she'll be able to be back with us here soon. So I think that's about it though, Becky, unless there's anything that we missed.
Nope. I just wish everybody an amazing week and remember to celebrate. So.
Oh, I love it. Perfect. Good. Great reminder. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Have a great week.